minority now acquired. The minority are acquired because a year Felix Ofosu Kwakye, government communication minister, was set the record straight because Afenyo and mobile boycotted a budget presenting, they are very quiet, speechless, and a year Felix Ofosu Kwakye set the record straight related to the government and the reduction and the massive improvement on our economy.
And in 6 months, the minister claims they have reduced debt from 737 billion to 613 billion. But let's ask ourselves, how is this reflecting in the pockets of Ghanaians? Mr. Speaker, without any proof.
Mr. Speaker, I used to hold the view that the economic performance of the Mills administration was the best we have seen in this country's history until the finance minister showed up to present the mid-year budget policy review. And Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I will run through a few of the metrics that are used to assess the health of an economy and show beyond doubt that the period we are in is the very best we've seen. Mr. Speaker, we are currently under an IMF program, courtesy the mismanagement of our colleagues on the other side. When they went into the IMF program, they agreed that the most critical indicator that will be used to assess their performance and management of the economy will be the primary balance. They themselves agreed that it is the main anchor of the IMF program. Mr. Speaker, the primary balance is nothing more than a measure of the difference between revenue and expenditure minus interest payments or debt servicing. It simply means that if you had not serviced your debt, which can be a statutory obligation, where would you be in terms of the management of your finances with respect to your revenue and expenditure? Mr. Speaker, when we took over power, the primary balance on commitment basis was at negative 3.9%, which was a deficit. It means that if you subtract expenditure from revenue and take out debt servicing or interest payments, we ran a negative of 3.9%. Mr. Speaker, when the finance minister came here, he said that this year, or by half year, we had projected to achieve a primary surplus of 0.4%. Mr. Speaker, the finance minister reported that we have in fact exceeded that and done a primary surplus of 1.1%. It simply means that we spent less than we earned. And every analyst of any economy will tell you that if it turns out that the country spends less than it earns, then they are on the right path as far as prudence is concerned. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the fiscal deficit itself, which is a straightforward measure of expenditure minus revenue, it was 0.7% by mid-year. Mr. Speaker, what is interesting is that the finance minister projected in his 2025 budget that we will do 1.8%. And for clarity, the larger your deficit, the worse it is for the economy. And the smaller the deficit, the better it is for the economy. So if we said we will do a deficit of 1.8%, and today we've done 0.7%, it means that we have done far better than we even imagined. And that is to the credit of this government. Mr. Speaker, our colleagues on the other side are making a song and dance out of the exchange rates. I would have thought that they would refrain from even commenting on the exchange rates because their handling of the exchange rates is the most catastrophic in our history. Mr. Speaker, my colleague who just spoke before me was contending that the cedi never got to 17 cedis against a dollar under the tenor. Mr. Speaker, in November 2022, the Ghana cedi exchanged for 17 cedis to $1, and it is a fact on the forex market. In fact, by the time they left office, the cedi was almost at 17 cedis to $1 on the forex market. Mr. Speaker, the finance minister has reported that the cedi appreciated by 42% against the US dollar. It appreciated by 30.3% against the British pound and appreciated by 25.6% against the euro. Mr. Speaker, the appreciation of the cedi in the last 6 months is the very best we've had in the history. The only one that comes close was a 38% appreciation in 1997 under the Rawlings administration. Mr. Speaker, inflation. Inflation simply measures the rate at which the prices of goods increase on the markets. And because we do year-on-year inflation calculation in Ghana, it simply measures the rate at which the price of goods are increasing on the markets at the point one is doing the analysis against the same point in the preceding year. When we took over power, inflation was 23.8%. Mr. Speaker, today it is 13.7%. Mr. Speaker, growth. The finance minister said in his budget, or I beg your pardon, the MPP achieved a 4.9% growth around the same time last year. Mr. Speaker, today we have achieved 5.3% growth, which is much better than what they left. Mr. Speaker, our debt to GDP ratio, which simply assesses whether or not theoretically we can pay off our debt in one bullet payment with the size of our GDP, shows that today our debt to GDP ratio is 43.8% of GDP. It simply means that if we pick our debts and compare it to our GDP, we have an extra 56.2% to spare if we were to do one bullet payment with our GDP. But Mr. Speaker, the curious thing about this is that when our colleagues on the other side entered the IMF program, they agreed that we will move from the 104% debt to GDP ratio, the disaster that they recorded sometime in 2023, to 45% in 2034. 45% in 2034. So the target was that we were going to manage our debt such that by 2034, we achieve a debt to GDP ratio of 45%. Mr. Speaker, as I speak to you, 9 clear years before the target, we have achieved 43.8%. In 6 months, we have achieved what they had projected to get in almost a decade. It is a remarkable achievement that nobody can run away from. Mr. Speaker, I also see that our colleagues are refusing to acknowledge the tremendous improvements we've made in our reserves. Our reserves currently stand at $11.12 billion as of June 2025. That gives us 4.8 months of import cover. Mr. Speaker, we inherited $8.9 billion under them, which gave us barely 4 months import cover. Now, Mr. Speaker, they say that, the IMF says we are pumping dollars into the system to safeguard our currency. Mr. Speaker, forget about the fact that there are similar IMF reports that show that they were spending $2.4 billion or they were pumping $2.4 billion around the same period in 2023-2024 in order to protect the currency. Yet, the currency reached about $16 cedis to $1 on the forex market. Mr. Speaker, what is remarkable is that under the IMF program that they entered and we reserves by $1.6 billion over the same period. What it means is that we have crossed the threshold that the IMF set for us. We have done far better than we thought. Indeed, we have performed 3 times better than we had imagined. Therefore, if it becomes necessary to make forex available on the markets, any responsible central bank will do so in order to protect the currency. Because we have all seen the benefits that have accrued from the appreciation of the cedi. It has led to indisputable reductions in the prices of goods and services services on the market to the claims that our opponents are making. At the very least, Mr. Speaker, fuel prices have dropped 8 consecutive times between January and now. When we took over power, fuel was selling in some filling stations for 15 cedis a litre. Today, the same commodity sells under 12 cedis a litre in some filling stations. Mr. Speaker, if you go onto the market today and do a cursory price survey, you will see significant reductions in the price of goods and services. Mr. Speaker, a ton of iron rods at the beginning of this year under the MPP sold for 9,400 cedis. Today, the same thing sells for 7,500 cedis, which is a reduction of almost 2,000 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, Dettol antiseptic 500 milliliters used to sell for 85 cedis. Today, it sells for 65 cedis. Mr. Speaker, Yaz sanitary pad sells for 15 cedis today. When we took over power in January, it sold for 25 cedis. Indeed, there are shops that sell it for 13 cedis. Mr. Speaker, a bucket of onions was selling for 120 cedis under the MPP. As of July, this month, it sells for 95 cedis under President Mahama. Mrs. of many Ghanaians used to sell for 1,200 cedis. Today, it sells for 950 cedis a sack. Mr. Speaker, a 5 kg bag of rice used to sell for 135 cedis. Today, it sells for 95 cedis, which is a saving of 40 cedis. Mr. Speaker, there are other sacks of rice. Millicent rice, for instance, 125 cedis under the MPP. Today, it sells for 95 cedis. Yes. Mr. Speaker, Tasty Tom tomato paste, that is 2.2 kilograms of it, used to sell for 80 cedis. Today, it sells for 50 cedis, which is a reduction of 30 cedis. I could go on and on and on and on. There is no dispute of debts under the MPP, and therefore, the external component of our debt had gone up, resulting in the increase. One of the key proponents of that was the Honorable Akroma, who was the chief spokesperson of government. If today the exchange rate has been managed better by the Honorable Ofosu, the governor of the central bank, and President Mahama, and it has resulted in a drastic reduction in our debts, it is something that this government must be credited for. Yes. Mr. Speaker, they also say that there was a gold purchase program, and therefore that should be credited for the appreciation of the cedi. They accumulated gold from 2021 to 2024, and yet the currency went to 17 cedis. Mr. Speaker, between January and now, $5.1 billion.
Remember, your time is up.